Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankarācārya-madhyamām Asmadācārya-paryantāм Vande Guru-paraṁparām Shrutismritipurāణānaṁ Ālayam Karuణālayam Namāmi Bhagavatpādam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Gukarastvandhakaro Vai. Yeah, it's sounding like a funeral, so it's sounding like a dirge. Yeah. Gukarastvandhakaro Vai. Rukarasthannivartakaha Andhakaranirodhitvat Gururityabhidhiyate. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Again, a gentle reminder to silence all kinds of noise makers and to please wear a mask so that we can all enjoy the retreat and be safe. Enjoy one another as well. We were talking, last where we left off, we were talking about the attainments, the achievements of Swami Vidyaranya, the author of this text, JivanMukti Viveka. It's, something very phenomenal life, amazing. We talked about how he was associated with the empire building of the Vijayanagara Empire, one of the very important seats of the Hindu Renaissance, when in the Middle Ages, in the 14th century, and lived to a ripe old age of 90 years, it is understood. And so this is something, and then later on he took sannyasa. And so today we will start by talking about some of his contributions to the thinking, to advancing Vedanta, and why we need to see this and how he has contributed, why he is called actually a second Adi Shankara. We see that. And then from there we will move to the text itself and how the text actually is constructed, because we are going to be getting to, we're going to have a little appetizer, a taste of the first chapter. And so it is important to see how the text is constructed, the whole text, so we can enjoy the appetizer. So the appetizer is enjoyable when you are given a look into the whole meal. Oh, okay, this is where this is situated. You can get situated nicely. And so that is what we will be doing. So some of the, he was a prolific writer, Swami Vidyaranya. some of the texts that have been written, some of them predate his sannyasa days because he accepted sannyasa at a late stage in life. And so two of the notable ones is, one of them is called Anubhuti Prakasha, which is an elucidation of the commentary of Adi Shankara to various Upanishads. Very useful, because his whole life he wanted to make things simple for people. And so this was like cliff notes to Adi Shankara's commentaries. How to understand the commentaries, what is the spirit in which it has to be assimilated, and very scholarly, but at the same time wanting to help. So this is Anubhuti Prakasha. Another one is a biography of Adi Shankara's life, very celebrated biography, called Madhaviya Digvijaya, Shankara Vijaya. There are many kinds of Shankara Vijayas. So this is called Madhaviya Digvijaya. Madhaviya Vijaya also it is called sometimes. His name was Madhava. So Madhaviya means belonging to Madhava. Very nice. And the story I told you yesterday about the rivalry between Padmapada and Totaka, and Padmapada's, erudition and his feeling proud about himself, all that, and the uncle, the tryst with the mean uncle is all from this Madhaviya, this Shankara, Madhaviya Shankara Vijaya. Very nice. And so it's all narrated there nicely. And so that is another work. Then he wrote also one thing called Vivarana Vivarana Prameya or something like that. Because, and the Vivarana is, this is something important to know. For Vedantins, there is a underlying question, a very niggling, nagging question, and an interesting one intellectually speaking. And what is that question? Where is self-ignorance located? Yeah, this is something important, because if I am to eradicate self-ignorance, I should know where it is. Without knowing where it is, how to eradicate it? Like pest control. Pest control comes to the house, right? And so they'll say, okay, where did you see the cockroach? And you say, I don't know. But then, let's say you say, I saw it here, but I don't know where it is now, or whatever it is. Sometimes, pest control comes for larger things. They want to take away snakes that have found their way into the house, so many things. So you say you don't know. Something that doesn't belong is in the house, you don't know. It has to be taken off and kept in the wild, but you don't know where it is. So then it is harder to catch something you don't know. And so this is something which everybody wants to know. Where is self-ignorance located? Very important question. And so, of course, scholars being what they are, they advance a lot of theories. Or maybe it's here. Look under the bed and look under the sink in the cupboard. Look here, look there, look in the crevices and the corners. Where? In the head, in the mind. Adi Shankara also deals with this question. So where is this, is this ignorance located? Avidya ashraya. Ashraya means where is this place of refuge for this thing called ignorance? And then, of course, from the standpoint of Vedanta, there can only be two places of refuge, so to speak. Where can ignorance hide? It should be either in the Atma, correct? Brahman Atma, or it should be in Anatma, right? And so, what is your guess? Where is ignorance? You see, there is a consensus here. Very interesting. Anatma. In the not I, of course the ignorance should be in the not I, correct? That is what the intuitive answer that comes, is that how can Atma, which is the source of everything shining, everything brilliant, everything wonderful, can harbor ignorance? Because that goes against the concept of Brahman. Brahman means it is all knowledge. How can it harbor ignorance? Not possible. So let us relegate it to Anatma. It must be in Anatma. Except that raises, if one is contemplative, thoughtful and introspective, that opens another Pandora's box. What is that box? So if it is in Anatma, why am I affected? I am Atma, correct? So this is a very tricky connection. And Adi Shankara addresses it. Somebody asks, where is ignorance? And he says, Prashtuhu Swarupe Eva. It is in the nature of the one who is asking. The one who is asking is ignorant, and that's why the ignorant one wants to know the source of ignorance. And the source, is, see, the source means what? Source means how many sources are there? Show some signs of life quickly. Yes, one. Yeah. There's only one source. What is that source? Brahman, Atma, consciousness, whatever language you want to talk it. There's only one source. Correct? So if ignorance has another source, then we are in trouble. We are in a lot of trouble because ignorance becomes a parallel reality to Brahman. And then if ignorance is as real as Brahman, then each time you use Brahma Vidya to remove the ignorance, then it can come back because it's a parallel reality. It cannot be destroyed. It's like, in Western theology, we have God and devil, and each one is having it out, and sometimes devil wins and sometimes God wins. This is not possible. This is not acceptable in Advaita. Advaita means one, and that oneness is taken so seriously. Everything is very nicely, deciphered. That is clarity, and that is why we love Swami Vidyaranya so much. So then, pretty much in Swami Vidyaranya's time, two quote-unquote schools of thought came into being. One is called the Bhamati school of thought. Don't get me started on Bhamati. Okay, I already got myself started. Bhamati is the name of a name of a work, which is a commentary on the Brahma Sutra by one Vachaspati Mishra, one scholar. Okay. This Vachaspati Mishra was crazy, totally crazy. And he was one of those absent-minded medieval professors, and he had no idea of what was around him when he started to write this commentary. Wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and finally finished it and looked up to find a grey-haired lady standing in front of him with a cup of milk. And he said, "Who are you?" She said, "I am your wife." "Why do you look so old?" "Well, because you have taken 20 years to complete this." He had no idea. She had been feeding him, cleaning up after him, day and night. What a seva! Amazing. Patiently, without without reproach. Without saying, "Oh, we need to spend time together. When is the last time you took me out on a holiday? When is the next vacation? We haven't even gone to a restaurant." Nothing. No reproach. She just stood by his side, serving him night and day. And then he felt so bad. He felt so guilty that he named the work after her. Because without her, this work could not have been done. Bhamati, that was her name. And so that is Bhamati. But then, as Adi Shankara points out, it's a very nice piece of work. But we have to be very careful. That's why, in the beginning of the study, we are advised not to read anything else. Don't read anything else. You just listen, that's enough. Don't keep, reading this, reading that, trying to, what is that for? Search for that Vidyananda. Vidyananda means the joy of research. All that will come later. Right now, just assimilate what is being given. I still remember when I was a student, somebody got this big book called Yoga Vasishtha. The dialogue between sage, Vasishtha and Rama. And they took it to Swamiji, Pujya Swamiji, and said, please bless this book. We want to study it, some brahmacharis. And I was, so I happened to be in the room and taking down some letters that Pujya Swamiji wanted to dictate. That was my job, so I was doing that. So they came with this big book. He happily took the book away from them and kept it for himself. Kept it on the table right close to himself. Then one of them tried to this thing. Then didn't even say a word. He just kept it. And then after they left, he said, he said to them also, just listen. And then after he left, he just smiled and said, these are not things to be read right now. So I was curious. I said, when should they be read? He said, after 12 years of Vedanta Shravanam. 12 years of just constant listening. After that, you can expose yourself to various other works because you have to give this pramana a chance to operate upon you. Single-minded. After that, you can dally with anything. And then you are very clear. You can appreciate Vachaspati Mishra without getting, derailed from the quest. From your own jnana nishtha. From your own fruitioning of this knowledge which leads to freedom while alive. And so, Vachaspati Mishra's work is very erudite. But he could not bear to think that Brahman could have even, that avidya could be Brahmashraya, that avidya, ignorance, could be centered on Brahman. He could not accept that at all. So he said, avidya is Jivashraya. And then if it is Jivashraya, Jiva is what, Jiva is Ishvara. But then, it is not, it cannot be Brahmashraya. But then if you say it is Jivashraya, then no matter what, you can't remove it. And then it is here to stay. And if it is Anatma, why is it affecting me? This is what we have to see. So, then Adi Shankara refutes that. But then later on, this particular understanding was talked about by another saint scholar called Prakash Atman. And he is considered to be the founder of this Vivarana school. This Vivarana, there is one, this is called Vivarana, means this, among other things, it tackles this very sticky question of how ignorance is also as though Brahmashraya. Because everything is as though. Brahman cannot be the refuge for anything. Again, we have then the locator, and located we have a duality. And that duality is not permissible at all. So Brahman cannot be the, either the locus or the locator of anything. So when we say Ashraya, it is again within those quotes, aforementioned quotes, which keep coming all the time. So Vivarana Prameya is a wonderful, because this Prakash Atman was very scholarly and wrote in a manner that, when you read his book, Prakash Atman's Vivarana School, you have to keep some Tylenol on the side and then read, okay? Because you're going to get a migraine. It's very, very difficult, very difficult to understand. Then another work by Swami Vidyaranya is called, very delightful work. And I had the blessing to study some of this with Pujya Swamiji, just so beautiful. Vayyasikya Nyayamala. Brahma Sutra in verse. Yes, absolutely delightful. And it is deceptively simple. If you know Sanskrit and you start studying or reading the Vayyasikya Nyayamala, you say, oh, I'm understanding. And then after that, you sit in front of somebody who's teaching it, like Pujya Swamiji, and then you say, okay, I'm not understanding it at all. Then it becomes very, very clear. Very, very clear. So, Vayyasikya Nyayamala. Fantastic work, absolutely wonderful. And so then of course, these were all like, what should I say, commentaries on various other works. And then two of his independent works were these two Magnum opuses. The first one is called Panchadashi, which everybody knows. She who is the 15th chaptered one, Panchadashi. And there he gives what he considers tattva jnana, knowledge of the vastu, in 15 chapters. It is kind of divided into 3 quintads of 5 chapters, 5 plus 5 plus 5. And then each one is dedicated to understanding the relationship between the oneself, Jiva, Jagat, the universe, and what else is left? Ishvara. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Beautiful elucidation. Fantastic work. It is said that most of it was composed by him and the remaining by some of his students. But it is so seamless, you cannot tell. And by the time you start enjoying it, you don't even care. Because that's how, how it flows. Then of course, the current text at hand, JivanMukti Viveka, which was his last composition. And how nice, because that is the last thing that is there for the person. JivanMukti Viveka. First, before we get into the arrangement of the text, a few comments on what is JivanMukti. JivanMukti means liberation from samsara while still in this body, which is what we want to enjoy. If a hungry person is told, what is the hungry person told? There is lots of food in heaven. There is the horn of plenty. That person may get angry and send you to heaven, okay? If you tell a hungry person, just wait to go to heaven. They will send you there first because they are so angry. Because hunger is an uncultivated desire that is here right now. I'm experiencing hunger now. And I'm not helped at all if I am told that, oh, go, wait till you go to heaven. Or you will be fed after 5 years. Wait for Lord Yama to come. This is not going to help. Because I did not decide to be hungry. There is no volition in hunger. I am not saying I need small frequent meals. The stomach already is arranged in such a way that it needs small frequent meals. Only thing is we forget the word small and we retain the word frequent. Jahad jahal lakshana. You take away something, you retain something. So everybody says, oh, I have to eat frequently. And the ashram obliges. Yeah. Everybody says, after I came to the ashram, I put on weight. Yeah. So this is what it is. So this is how it is. There is an immediacy in this need for food. Isn't that correct? Where else do you see an immediacy? In thirst, there is an immediacy. One is thirsty right now. One is hungry right now. One is dehydrated right now. And the fix should also be where? Right now. It should not be after 5 years you will get food, or after, better yet, just wait to go to heaven and you will get food. What's the sense in that? No sense in that at all. And so this is something which needs to be examined in the light of the need for freedom. Is the desire for freedom mumuksha? Is it a cultivated desire or an uncultivated desire? Uncultivated desire. Naturally. Because I don't know that I have this desire, yet somehow, without explaining, there is this pull to be free. It starts at age 2. The child can barely speak. I want to do by myself. Let me tie your shoes. No. It doesn't even know how to say shoe. The word shoe, it doesn't know how to say. Yet it shoos the mother away, and the child wants to tie its own shoes. This is the freedom. You see this, even at toddler age. No, I don't want to be held. No, I don't want to be hugged. No, I don't want to be kissed right now. Just because you feel like hugging me, I don't want to be held. It runs, it wants freedom. Uncultivated. And like the hunger and the thirst, the hunger and thirst are quenched immediately as soon as they are cognized. When is hunger first cognized? Don't say when I wake up in the morning, okay? That's not the correct answer. When is hunger first cognized? See, I'm trying to help. I removed the wrong answer. At birth. At birth, the baby, it's not just the human baby. You look at National Geographic videos. It's not just the human baby, it's any baby. Baby cat, baby dog, baby giraffe, baby elephant. As soon as it's born, it heads to the mother's milk without needing a GPS. Oh, where should I turn left? And I should program it properly. Where should I go? Instinctive. Hunger is there, food is given. It comes to the world with food. Before it's born, it doesn't pack a sandwich and doesn't come out. The air we breathe is a necessity, at least for, most of the animals. Air is needed very much. Have to have the air. Without air, there is, nothing there. No life can be sustained. And all that the human baby has to do is open its mouth. Up till now, it was breathing with the help of the tube, the umbilical cord. The mother was breathing, that was sufficient. It was connected to the mother. As soon as it comes out, or even before the cord is cut, all it has to do is open the mouth, cry, air goes in. It doesn't need to carry an oxygen tank. Not at all. So the immediacy of the parihara, the solution for the need which is also immediate, which are uncultivated desire, food, clothes, shelter, air, drink, all these things are already given. Given by who? Don't say the pediatrician. No. Ishvara, Bhagavan. Given. They're already there. Hunger is there, food is given. And then as one grows up, all varieties of food. In fact, the choices are oppressive. You spend half an hour being hungry, deciding what to eat. And then you are angry, a condition which is called hangry. Yeah. Hangry is equal to hungry plus angry. Yeah. So, this is something which is there. It's the law of the universe. It's the arrangement of how things are. That's why one enters this world in complete trust as a baby animal, as a baby human being. Total trust. Why? Because there is total helplessness. Whatever is needed is provided. So now, coming back to the present desire, the desire for freedom, which you have decided is what? Uncultivated. For that also there should be an immediate fix. See? This is how we use logic to help ourselves. This kind of a logic is called Shruti Anukula Yukti. A logic that helps us to understand the Shruti. It's an extension. If every other uncultivated desire in the universe has a remedy which is total, complete, immediate and focused to that particular need, then why should this desire be left out? Which is also immediate. When do you want to be free? Nobody says, check me in the next life. Ask me the question in the next life. Nobody says. In fact, the desire for extreme sports is mumuksha. Yeah. There's some kind of what is that called? Bungee cord jumping. This is, I always say, it is samskara from the last life as a spider. Yeah. That's not yet gone. And skydiving and all these, rock climbing, goat life, yeah. And then memories of goat life. And either that or one is getting ready to be a goat in the next life. The possibilities are there. Gahana karmano gatihi. The Bhagavad Gita says the ways of karma are very mysterious. So all these, daredevil sports. And what is that thing? That motorcycle? No, jet ski, okay, that looks tame compared to all these other things, Yeah. You go, this motorcycle, thing. Huh? Yeah, it looks dangerous, and in fact, many people have, got badly injured or worse because of this. So all these kinds of things. Why is there a penchant to hang off a cliff? Why? Especially when you don't have the means to sustain yourself at all. Why? This is because it's the desire for moksha somehow not fully understood and projected onto the body, thinking that if the body is suspending in space, somehow that means I am free and I am limitless. All these kinds of sports. And even this taking selfies on the edge of a cliff, which is dangerous. So many times people have unfortunately found that it is fatal. However, you may say, you may tell yourself, I'm doing this for the sake of the view. You're not, that's not wholly true. It's partly also the thrill involved. Oh, we were able to scale this and we want to record this achievement. And so, this desire for moksha gets expressed in crazy ways if it is not recognized, understood, and addressed and channeled properly through the remedy which is already given. Remedy is already given, remedy is already here. What is that? Tattva jnana, the understanding of the teaching. This is what it is. And then you see, as soon as one is put on a diet of Vedanta, all these crazy notions go. Really they go. The devilry, somehow finds itself just calming down. That itself shows this particular connection. So, the fix for the problems created by self-ignorance. And what are they? The fact that I am not at ease with myself. The fact that I am unhappy with who I am. The fact that I want to be more compassionate, more accommodative, more loving, and all loving in fact, but I can't do that. This thing is very much there, and for that the upaya, the remedy, is to study the Shastra, which dispels the notion that you are not enough, that you are somehow bound, that you are somehow having to deal with all these difficulties, that you are beyond all this. You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the senses. And again, that doesn't mean you are a zero. No, you are not zero either. You are very much fully here. You are the source of everything that is. Your presence lights up all other things that are present. You are the Jyotisham Jyotihi, light of all lights, and because of which everything shines after. And you have the self-shining, you are the self-shining eye, which does not depend on any other entity to shine, to be evident. You become evident to you, everything becomes evident to you. Fascinating. And so, this is the Shastra, and discovering oneself as evident is very, very important. Self-evident I, which is connected, which is unfolded to be the cause of the universe. Very, very important, very beautiful. Now, this much is there. This is the upaya, the remedy for the pain of feeling an alienation from oneself, from the universe, from Ishvara. This is the remedy, which is really fantastic. So the remedy, the desire is immediate, the remedy is already given. Sannyasya shravanam kuryat. There is a adage in the Dharma Shastra, or I don't know where this sentence is taken from, but it is, quoted about, bandied about so frequently that, one doesn't care where it has come from because it is very well known. Sannyasya, having given up everything, then start on the study of Vedanta. This is an expectation in a way. Because if you have a lot of irons in the fire, then there will not be inner space that is made to further this commitment. You have to give this knowledge a chance, and you have to make yourself free to be in it. That is the idea. The more space you have, it's not even just about time, it's about inner space. The more space you make for it, the more it will reward you, because you have put the time, you have put the energy, put the effort to just be present, to just allow yourself to imbibe the teachings. So, this is a very straightforward thing. Yet, and then the other thing that is, so this is part A, okay, of the Shastra here, wow, JivanMukti. Not the book, but JivanMukti in general. Then, part B also deals with a very interesting question. What is this question? What happens after this JivanMukti is gained? When I have the clarity that lets me let go of the identification that I am this body, the identification that I am just this mind and I am just these senses, then how do I live? This is a very intricate, intriguing thing. How, this is what Swami Vidyaranya ji also talked about on the first day when he inaugurated this retreat. The Bhagavad Gita deals with this question. How does the jnani means a person of knowledge, person of wisdom, how does she or he walk? How do they talk? How do they sit? How do they stand? In other words, how do I recognize them? And then the answer is not so fast, not so easy. And it is, this is the characteristics, the lakshana of the jnani are, they are, those characteristics are something entirely different than what can be looked at from the outward perspective. Not in their clothes, not in what they eat, not in what they drink, or whether they talk fast or whether they talk slowly. That is not the criteria. None of this is the criteria at all. We have a set of inner criteria that cannot be delineated from outside unless you yourself happen to be a jnani, in which case you can very quickly recognize another jnani. So, and what are these inner criteria? Letting go of desire even as it arises in the mind. So this is like a mini sannyasa one is giving oneself every day, regardless of whether one is wearing the robes of a sannyasi or not. So some fancy comes. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangahateshu upajayate. Bhagavad Gita says. For the person constantly in contemplation, of Brahman, no, of ice cream, okay? Then one ice cream thought comes, oh, summer is here, ice cream sounds good, Then that's not a big deal, okay, gone. But then one becomes contemplative, ice cream oham, punah, which is a slight change from what we said yesterday. What did we say yesterday? Asangoham. It has a ring to it, ice cream oham. Then what happens? Then the desire grows. It becomes full-fledged. First it goes to school, then it goes to college, then it graduates, and then it gets a PhD. And then it starts to really burrow into you. This is Sangha upajayate. Instead of asanga, there is Sangha. It's like cling wrap. So it's on some kind of a container or a vessel. You take it out, it clings to you. Then with great difficulty you take it out of the fingers, then it clings to the counter. That's what it is. Very clingy. Desires are needy and clingy. Then, if you say, so what? Then Lord Krishna says, Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Before the ice cream or whatever the object of desire was, it is in the form of a fancy. For the fancy to convert into a full-fledged desire, just takes a little contemplation upon that object. Kamah teshu, in that person, in those people, upajayate. Then what happens? Ice cream now is a full-fledged desire. Then you say, so what? Let it be a full-fledged desire. What has that got to do with me? So what? Why are you keeping on coming after me? So what if I desire ice cream? What is it to you? I'm not asking you to buy it for me. I can buy it by myself. So what is it to you? My desire, my ice cream, my money, my life. Get away from my face. If you say that, then Lord Krishna will answer, okay, go try getting it. And you try getting it. And because there is something stronger than your will, which is karma. Yeah. Oh, you can even have ice cream karma? Yes, absolutely. Sometimes it is no ice cream karma. You go to the shop, it closes in your face. When you go somewhere else, your favorite one is not there. Why is so hard to find ice cream? Because you are a vegan. Okay. So, if you're a vegan and you want ice cream, you can't just go to any shop. You have to go to some specialized, organic, some kind of a out-of-the-way place. And then it should be made of, alternative ingredients. Coconut milk. There is one ice cream made of coconut milk. It's called something. It's made in Eugene. That's how I know about it. Coconut bliss. Yeah. Coconut milk ice cream, soya milk ice cream. All these things. But then you go there, your karma won the day it is not there. Then what? Then if you say, so what? Lord Krishna says, Kamat krodha abhijayate. When the desire is thwarted from being fulfilled, anger rises like the sun on a hot summer's day. Red hot anger. What? Why is it not here? What's wrong with this world? What is this supply chain issues? How can this be the case? Why is it affecting me? Why is it affecting me? And how is this possible? And then, whoever else is there, it's one thing to rave and rant at an inanimate object like the ice cream, or here, no ice cream, whatever the thing, a concept. But it's much more fulfilling to get angry at a person and target that anger. It appears much more fulfilling. It is not, ultimately. But in the moment, in that impulse, it is much more fulfilling to target somebody. So you see a hapless, significant other. I told you we should have gone early. Because of you, I don't have ice cream. And so you become the ice cream. How? Because ice cream, that's all. Started to keep on screaming at this one, Then again you say, so what? Everybody gets angry and relationships are difficult to manage anyway. What is wrong with you? So what if I got angry? Big deal. You should wait and see the significant other, how many times they get angry. Then Lord Krishna will respond, Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Meaning the anger is the one that makes you nicely, happily, fully deluded. Sammoha. Sam means wonderful. And moha means delusion. You are in the throes of a wonderful delusion. Can delusion be wonderful? Apparently, yeah. What does it mean to be wonderfully deluded? Meaning, you think you are wonderful when you're not. That's what it is. You think your behavior is wonderful when it is not. So that is nicely deluded, fully deluded, completely deluded. Delusion means with regard to your priorities. You forget in that moment, this is a small thing. In fact, everything that is assailing one is a small thing. But it looks big, out of proportion, because it is being looked at through the microscope of raga and dvesha. That's why it is a small thing. It's all a small thing. But for the deluded one, it looks huge, it looks insurmountable, it looks terrible. And this is how it is. And so then, krodhat bhavati sammoha. So what is my delusion? What is it to you? Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. Due to this delusion, you forget your place in the world. You forget what you're meant, what for you have come here. You've come here to rave and rant about ice cream, and then, this is what you're doing? Is this what this life is about? And you can replace ice cream with anything, money and all other objects of desire. Is this really what you want to be spending your time doing? This is what is called smriti vibhrama, forgetting of values, attitudes, priorities, things that are dear to you. Forgetting that core of oneself, not having any recourse to that core, not able to connect to oneself anymore. There is a dissociation. There is the desirer and there is the knower. The knower knows I am okay without this, but the desirer has taken over and eclipsed the knower. Duality within duality. So then again, if somebody has the alacrity to say, so what? Then the answer is given. Smriti bhramshat buddhi nashaha. The faculty of knowing, the buddhi basically is here to protect, and buddhi means intellect. The intellect is here to protect, the intellect is very much here, and here the intellect has been hijacked, trapped, and the key thrown away. The intellect is a wall, missing without leave. Okay, absent without leave, missing in action. Then if you say, so what? It will be the final so what, because the answer is buddhi nashat pranashyati. When the buddhi goes, you go. Finished. You are destroyed. You are as good as destroyed if you don't have the faculty of viveka, discrimination, and very difficult to come back. In commenting on these verses in the Bhagavad Gita, Adi Shankara says, Guru napi drohayati, meaning the person even fires off the Guru in that moment. Guru, who is supposed to be the, put on the pedestal of respect, is also nicely fired off. You don't know how to teach. I don't want to study with you. You are fired. The person may say, because the person is not knowing, he has been dissociated from the intellect and from the priorities and from the memory of what is important here. And so this whole trajectory, very important to understand, because in the light of JivanMukti, this is very important to understand, because this is what takes one away. This is exactly what derails this whole kind of a thing. So now here, so the person, the person contemplating on an object, the fancy, this is where how we got talking about. The person contemplating or keeping on being obsessed with a fancy is, you see how easily, completely strays away. And then the idea is that in JivanMukti, this does not happen, because the person is one with the knowledge so much, identifies completely with the knowledge, and so these kinds of, for the jnani, the fancy may come, but the fancy is immediately burnt with the fire of knowledge, reduced to ashes. This is the difference between the jnani and ajnani. So for the jnani, ice cream there, wonderful, fantastic, let's enjoy. No ice cream, even better, no problem. So that freedom, this is what is moksha, this is what is JivanMukti. Now, having said that, not all schools within the Hindu philosophy, within the Vedanta philosophy, subscribe to this concept of JivanMukti. Adi Shankara, yes. But if you talk to a Dvaitin or a Vishishtadvaitin, a dualist or a, what is it called, qualified dualist, you will get different answers. The dualist is convinced there is no mukti while alive. Why? Because you are plagued by the limitations of this body. So the jnani also needs to go to the bathroom. What kind of JivanMukti? Because you can't have mukti from your bladder, and so what kind of mukti is possible? And the jnani has to eat, the jnani has to drink, the jnani has to go here, go there. This is not mukti. Yeah, the mortal coils, this is how they'll talk. The mortal coils are shed, and when the mortal coils are shed, then you are free floating, and then what? You go straight to Bhagavan, and you have a different body there, a body that is not subject to the limitations of all kinds of things. These kinds of limitations the body is not subject to. And when the body is not subject to these kinds of limitations, then what happens? You are free to just frolic with Bhagavan. You have a divine body, celestial body, whatever you want to call it, and then you can play, rasa leela. You can have some kind of a dance with Bhagavan. This is the dualist position. No JivanMukti possible, because look at your body. Has your body undergone a change from yesterday, let's say? I mean, we don't subscribe to this, but we can talk like this to understand the position. From before you had mukti, now you have mukti. Has your body changed? Is your body made of diamond, which is impervious to anything? No. Did you fall sick after attaining jnanam? Yes. And so then, if those are your answers, that means what mukti? You had to suffer fever, you had chills, you had a cold, you had cough, you had all these things. What mukti are you talking about? You didn't have mukti from the ailments. So how can you say this is JivanMukti? The problem here is taking the body to be real as the knowledge, as real as Brahman, as real as Satchidananda, that consciousness which is an as though indweller of the body-mind-sense complex. This is, of course, a gross, just a small, a gross simplification of the Dvaita position. But somewhere, it's not totally off the ballpark. It is just a very small, simplified version. Then next, coming to Vishishtadvaita, again, yes, you are an adjective to God. You are part of God, but then you will, you will not have the satisfaction. Even if you gain the knowledge, you will not have satisfaction, because what they call knowledge is also different. Because the Upanishads are parsed and studied according to the philosophy. So the philosophy preconditions how the Upanishad is studied rather than the other way around. It's not that the Upanishad gives birth to a philosophy, but the philosophy is already there, preloaded in the head. And so when such a person reads the Upanishad or studies the Upanishad, they will come with a different interpretation. For us, it doesn't matter, because we have the hermeneutic freedom, unlike other traditions. In other traditions, you can't go and interpret the Bible however you want. You will be excommunicated. because the Bible is scripture and it is one, and it is how it is. You can't do this to, in the organized religions, you don't have the freedom to do that. Maybe a little interpretation here and there and be creative, it's okay. But you can't fundamentally change what it says. But here, we have the hermeneutic freedom to be able to delve into this and to be able to understand this completely. And so therefore, since this freedom is given, it is just people take it. And therefore we have Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita and Advaita even within Vedanta. Okay. So the Vishishtadvaita's position we will see when we come back. And so those two, these three positions are important because that is where hinges this concept of Jivan Mukti. And then we will look at how the text is structured and enter the text. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.